Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. This is going to be an updated starter guide for Hellion. This is being made right after the Don't Panic patches just dropped about a couple days ago. I've been toying around with it, seeing what's up, how drastic the changes are, and it is definitely adding to the game. I think it's definitely a huge step in the right direction for Hellion to go. I do really enjoy the patch, but there are quite a few new mechanics that need to be paid attention to. There's quite a few things that are different now that you're going to have to relearn, and I am just going to go ahead and walk you guys through it step by step, just to show you what exactly is new, what exactly has changed, and some things have become more difficult, some things have become easier. So if you stuck around with me, thank you so much. I have not been putting out too many videos lately. I've been pretty busy with school and stuff, but I saw this patch drop and I knew immediately that I had to jump on it. I was super curious. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and start up on US West 4. I don't have an account on this one, so I'm not worried about erasing my other characters or anything. And we're going to go ahead and hop right in. And pretty much off the bat, you're going to notice a few things different. Upon loading in, they definitely went all out with the method of starting you with a totally messed up outpost and ship. As you can already see, the system is alerting me to a breach detected on my outpost in the main room. And that is just the beginning of a multitude of new things that you have to take care of immediately upon loading into the game. It is no longer just start a base up and go fly out right away. I mean, you can see just out the window here, there's a breach on that airlock. This, I don't know if I'll be able to see it from here, but the derelicts are quite messed up. If you run into them, chances are you're going to die. You can already tell there's a new tool here. This is the welding tool. I call it the Fixie tool. This tool is pretty much what fixes all of your problems besides fires. Fires are now fixed with a fire hydrant, which I will show in a second. Oh, actually, it's right here. So use this to put out fires and use that Fixie tool for everything else. I'm going to go ahead and grab my suit, put it all on. Go ahead and open up my visor so I'm not wasting my oxygen. I'm going to grab my poster. And there's nothing in those drawers anymore. And they also haven't been spawning the small canisters, unfortunately. I'm not entirely sure why they stopped doing that. Maybe they'll bring that back eventually, hopefully. But we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and float in here. And welcome to the Don't Panic patch, where things are definitely a little bit more exciting. Since I am floating, I'm going to need to actually go back and grab my Fixie tool. But one of the big parts of this patch is that you definitely want to compartmentalize your outpost now. And by what I mean by that is keeping the doors closed pretty much as possible, because as you can see, I am just leaking oxygen and nitrogen right now. Well, I mean, at this very second, I don't believe my life support systems are online by default, but assuming my life support systems were on, it would just be flooding oxygen into this room, and it would just obviously be getting sucked out into space, and that would be completely useless. So you can end up with breaches in rooms like this, where it could be a breach in this wall, and if both of these doors are closed, only the oxygen in this room is going to get sucked out. And assuming my life support's not online, it won't be flooding back in. But yeah, it has become more important to compartmentalize. I'm going to run back in here, go ahead and grab my my Fixie tool. I'll grab this med pack. I'll grab the fire hydrant too, or the fire extinguisher. I don't know why I call it a fire hydrant. I'm not sure. Because it's too early for this. I believe I heard the door behind me close, so let's go ahead and open this up. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Fixie tool. This is, it's pretty straightforward, the mechanic of fixing things. You can tell what needs to be fixed by little yellow holes in the wall. Anything that's sparking bright yellow or bright blue needs to be fixed. And of course, if there's a giant gaping suction of oxygen and everything going out of a hole in the ceiling or wall, you can tell that you need to fix that as well. So it's really easy. You just float on up to it or walk up to it. Go ahead and hold your left mouse button, and slowly it will fix itself. And this is the specific breach that it was referring to when I first spawned in, when it told me that there was a breach in my main hull of my station. Unfortunately now, turn gravity on here. Now my fixie tool is almost empty. It starts you with only 10 out of 80 in the welding tool. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that. I've seen tons of people flailing around with this when they first spawned in on this new patch. I especially also did flail around with this for a while. But after a little bit of experimentation and figuring out, and potentially if I had just read the tips, I would have figured it out sooner. But you just plop it on there, and the fixie tool takes hydrogen, which is nice because before hydrogen was really only used for your engines of your mule. And mule, for those who don't know, is what the current ship in the game is called. It's a mule. So anyway, I'm just going to go. They start you with hydrogen in your outpost tank cargo panel right away. I have to say the new interfaces are beautiful. There's new interfaces on the cargo panels. There's new interfaces on the pressurization panels in airlocks and such. And man, they are so much cleaner than before. A little bit of toying around, and it's pretty easy to figure these out. It's really nice, big improvement. So anyway, as you can see, this little bar on the side is now yellow. This thing is now at 28.7 out of 80. I'm gonna go ahead and fix this breach. I highly recommend you fix any breaches you see because they degrade over time more. So if you just leave them to sit there, it will get worse over time. Unfortunately, there was no fire when I first spawned in. Last time I spawned in, there was a fire in my main hull, and I had to put that out. But it's pretty straightforward. If there's a fire, let's say this cryopod is like a fire. I don't think cryopods can catch on fire. The fire was over here, so let's just point it at the button. If there's a fire here, you literally just point, shoot, and boom, you're going to put the fire out. So it's nice. The amount of breaches that form over time, it's not crazy. I think it's actually almost the perfect amount of timing for it. It's about 7 to 9 days, I believe, if you're AFK before your base will degrade all the way. And just like messing around and playing online, I've had a few pop up every once in a while over the course of a few hours. And obviously new modules will all spawn like below 50%, I believe. I think the best module I found was at 44% hull integrity. And this hull integrity is just alerting you to this module. Only the outpost is alerted by this hull integrity. And I don't know if there is a panel in here or not, actually, now that I think about that. I don't think so. Oh, there is, yeah. So this hull integrity is referring only to this CQM. Door needs to stop. Yeah, it's only referring to the CQM here. So that's how you can tell if there is something breached. Sometimes little patches like the one I repaired second, the one that was on this wall, will show up before the hull integrity will drop. That's not a big deal. I mean, if you spot it, fine. It's not leaking any oxygen or anything, so you don't really need to worry about it extremely. But when you see your hull integrity drop, you should probably go inspect and make sure there's nothing too crazy going on. And other things will pop up as well. I'll show you when we get to the ship. I should probably turn my air filters on and air pressure. Anyway, when we get to the ship, you'll see it'll show you if there is a hull breach or if there's a fire on this panel in this area. So you'll be able to tell if there's anything serious going on. I'm going to go ahead and turn my solar panels on, my capacitor on, so I can store excess energy for when we dip behind the sun, or behind the planet, I mean. So here, you automatically spawn around Bethier, right? And around Bethier, you average between 41% and 42% sun coverage. That number only affects really your power output, and your power output is important for things like keeping the lights on. I can turn them off here and save a little bit of power. They're not actually off, but anyway, that aside. There we go. Lights are back on. Anyway, when you add more modules and you have things like a life support module and a command module and other modules like a CBM that are all using power at the same time, this becomes more and more important. Eventually, it gets to the point where your solar panels are not enough to fuel the whole station itself, and that's when you need a fusion reactor, which is a power supply module. But as you can see, my capacitor's charging up here. And I'm not going to go into too in-depth of details. This is just for the changes to the Don't Panic patch. So I'm pretty much just going to be highlighting what's different now in this patch and how drastically things have changed. Go ahead and turn these on. It's not really a big deal. My air pressure and air quality is fine, but the pressure dropped a lot because it was all getting sucked out of that hole in the ceiling before. So let's go ahead. Let me just make sure I'm good on that. All right. I need to close this door before I vent everything. All right, and let's go outside. So, just for the sake of showing what's really new about this patch, I'm going to go ahead and dock my airlock on here real quick, just to show you guys what that is like now. And I believe there may be a fire inside. I can't tell. You can see a hull breach over there. They're pretty easy to spot. Some modules have yellow lights on them, so that is a little bit annoying, but otherwise they're relatively easy to find for the most part. I have had a few spawn in a little bit of weird spots, like spots that you can actually see the degradation at, and that type of stuff is extremely annoying if you can't actually find the spot in your hull that's broken. But usually a relog will solve that problem, so it's not end of the world type stuff. Let me just go ahead and plop this bad boy on here. I have noticed that they have made docking quite a bit easier than it was originally. If you'll notice here, I'm coming in pretty hot. I'm actually relatively well aligned, but in general, you can actually be pretty far off and not have to worry about it not docking on correctly. I'm going to ignore the derelict right now. If you want to explore that, you're absolutely welcome to. I highly recommend it. There's things like ammo that spawn in there and a bunch of other small stuff that's really important that spawns in there. Sometimes canisters and all that. So you are absolutely should check that out. For the sake of this guide, I'm going to just skip that because it's not essential to what I'm talking about here. But as you pull up to the mule, you can immediately tell that it's quite messed up here. The gaping hole is your first indicator that the mule is pretty screwed up. So I'm going to go ahead and start depressurizing my airlock, and then while I'm doing that, I'll go fix that big external hole. Hull breach. Grab our little fixie tool. You just float right on up to it. Hold your left trigger. Fix it up nice. Just so you're aware that when you spawn, there is only 10 hydrogen in the fixie tool. So you need to make sure that you refill it before you leave. Otherwise, you will not have even close to enough to fix the mule all the way. That's pretty important, actually. Because if you're out here, it's just time-consuming to run back in. I'm going to go ahead and fly over my mule real quick just to take a look and see if there's anything popping out in terms of hull breaches. Looks like there's one right there. I'm going to go ahead and nab that one real quick. And the sun is right in our face, as always. That's the #1 rule of Hellion. The sun is always facing you, and you are always flying into it, no matter what direction you're going. Alright, let's go ahead and fix this little hole up. And slowly. Alright. Go ahead and sweep around the other side real quick just to make sure there's nothing else that I'm missing. Of course, the sun is back because the sun hates us. Alright, we're looking pretty good. Oh, we got one breach on the solar panel here. And Again, all of your parts are fine. Just an FYI, if something is malfunctioning off the start, it is not the part that is messed up. It means that there is some kind of breach or degradation around that part that needs to be fixed with a welding tool. Unfortunately, I am now running pretty low on hydrogen. So if I intend to fix my mule completely, I'm going to need to dock it and unload some of the hydrogen in the mule into my station so that I can load it into the fixie tool. Of course, if you are just planning to get out of here, you don't necessarily need to fix that solar panel or the breach in the cargo bay. Those are both non-consequential. You can function completely fine without those. But some of the things in here you cannot function without. So, unfortunately, your ship is vented off the start now because we have those hull breaches on the outside that I showed earlier. You have issues with your fusion drive. You have issues with your life support. The cockpit is still pressurized, thankfully, not completely destroyed. And of course, there are issues below in the cargo bay that need fixing, and there is, I believe, an issue. Yeah, you can see the blue lightning with your warp drive that needs to be fixed. So, as you can tell, there are quite a few problems as you spawn in that need fixing. I'm not sure if it's possible to fix them all with the hydrogen that you start with in your outpost. I don't believe so. Maybe sometimes, but as you can tell, I'm already out. So I'm gonna actually just have to vent my cockpit and fly back in. My pressure will go down over time, so I'm gonna. Well, I guess I can take my mask off until it drops. But seeing as, well, actually, I think I might have. Ooh, nice sunset right here. Look at that, beautiful. Wow, what good timing that was. Okay, anyway. What was I talking about? Sorry, I get sidetracked really easily. I think because I fixed all of the hull breaches, I might be okay, actually, as far as pressurization goes. As you can see, my FTL is blinking on the left side of my screen there. That's because it is offline and cannot be turned online because both the fusion reactor and the FTL drive itself are having issues with degradation that need to be fixed. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull right up to this airlock here. Pull down a bit. Up a little bit. Let's match velocity and head into the docking screen. Airlock to airlock this bad puppy. And around this way. Alright, we're looking pretty solid. As you can tell, this is actually pretty off, but I'm gonna go in like this anyway, just to show you how easy it is to dock now compared to before, where I'm pretty misaligned right now, if you can tell. But with some of the recent changes, docking has become quite a bit easier. So as you can see, oh, okay, everything I just said is a lie. Oh, all right. Me saying it was a lie is also a lie. But I still docked. All right. You can hear the hissing sound. That is the sound of pressure leaking in oxygen. There's a hole right here. Feels bad. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go upstairs. Oh, it's a pressure hazard. This is gonna be really annoying off the start, unfortunately. I'm gonna go ahead and close this behind me so it's less pressure leak. Yeah. My solar panels can no longer handle the amount of power that I am trying to use to run this entire mule and airlock and outpost. I'm gonna have to force open this one. You can force open most doors now, which is really nice. And as you can tell, the new UI is just absolutely gorgeous. And out oxygen. I don't believe that counts as a fire. I'm not sure. Oh, here you go. You can tell that there's a breach here by the blinking breach alert. Go ahead and head back inside. Close this behind us. 0.1 bar. Nice. We're doing pretty good here, huh? But, I mean, as you can tell already, it's quite a bit more intensive than before, especially off the start. There's way more stuff that you have to do to get going in the game. I'm going to go ahead and seep... let's just drop it all in there. I'm not using the engines. And I can always unload more back into it. Let me just check the hull integrity of this. Is all good? Cool. Alright, let's close this behind us again. Do I still have any? Yeah, okay, good. I got fire extinguisher stuff. I don't think this counts as a fire. But let's shoot it with the fire extinguisher and see. Okay, nope. I am wrong about that. Alright, anyway, let's fix the ceiling first. Slowly. Meticulously. Okay. And once the sparks stop, you can tell that it's been fixed all the way. We are looking okay. There's an external breach that I can't fix from in here, so I'm going to have to go outside to fix it. I believe, yeah, it's like right above me right here, I think. Go ahead and close this door. Alright, and then let's take care of some of the internal issues on the ship after we close everything up so it's not all leaking. I've noticed this glitch a few times now where I'll click the door and it'll make the sound of closing the door, but it won't actually close. Not sure what that one's all about. Oh, I'm gonna have to force open that door. Alright. Go ahead and pull this bad boy back out. Turn our light on just because it's dark in here. Alright. Let's fix the fusion drive first. Oh, that was easy. We can then go ahead and fix the life support system right here. And then I am going to have to run outside to fix the external breaches on the airlock. Alright, life support's all patched up. Let's see. We're at 0.7 bars right now. Leave this online. These are both online. Okay. I'm going to have to go out through the cargo bay. First things first, though, I'm going to go ahead and repair the warp drive. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Obviously, the larger the breach, the longer it takes for you to fix. But overall, we are doing much better now. Let's go find a panel here. We're at 67% hull integrity. The airlock is going to need to be depressurized before I can bring it up here to, what, 0.8. Go ahead and go down. I don't think I missed anything in here. Pretty sure I got everything. Is this completely depressurized or is this pressurized? Depressurized. As you can see from the many sparks in here, this is also pretty messed up. We're gonna go ahead and jump out there, fix everything in the cargo bay, and then hop into outer space and fix the external breach on the airlock that I pointed out earlier but didn't fix. Not sure why that, here's the fire hazard icon. Oh, I have an extra fixie tool over there. I believe the fires will be put out. I hate this spot. This spot is kind of annoying to get to. It's usually easiest for me. I just hop on this, hold on. Hop on that thing. And just stand up here and fix it real quick. But yeah, this one's a little bit annoying to reach. You can get it from if you're not standing on top of the shelves, but ooh, that bright red light. Fix this thing too. Unfortunately, we still haven't seen any actual fires. I'm not sure why it's alerting the fire hazard. I don't know if this smoke like counts as a fire hazard, but it's fixable with the welding tool. So, again, I don't know. Although we still have the fire hazard icon. Not really sure what that deal is. Let's check. Hull integrity is at 89%. That just means there's one small thing, and there it is right there. I can see it from here. There we go. All right, and then we should be at hull integrity 100% for our mule. The airlock is the only thing that needs any fixing right now, and we'll go ahead and hop over there and fix that real quick. As this is already depressurized. Oh, nope, not entirely, actually. There's like a tiny amount of pressure in here. Although it says I can open the door, so I don't think it's enough pressure to matter. Interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and hop outside. And as I was talking about earlier, there are yellow lights all over ships, like these little triangular light things. I constantly mistake those for breaches since the new patches dropped. Hopefully, maybe they'll change the color of those or the way they work. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead and fix this external breach. This is what's leaking most of the oxygen and nitrogen. Probably should have had my life support systems offline as long as I had this docked to my outpost, because it's probably been trying to funnel oxygen and nitrogen into this to pressurize and keep the air quality high in here. Let's go ahead and just look at it real quick and see if there's anything else that needs any fixing. Doesn't look like it right here. Looking pretty good. Yep. And we are all fixed up. Go ahead and hop back in our beautiful mule here. Pressurize that. You have to repressurize your elevator before you can repressurize your cargo bay, of course. And so let's see what we're looking at here. We are at hull integrity 100% for our mule. As we saw earlier, the outpost was at 100%. And overall, I ended up using all but 28.7 of my hydrogen. And that was after transferring 80 of it from my mule into my station. So as you can tell, hydrogen is pretty important in this patch. You kind of run through it really quickly, especially if you're adding new modules on. So hydrogen has definitely gone up quite significantly in priority. Luckily, it's not particularly difficult to find. They obviously start you with plenty of raw resources. There's an orange can in your station. There's a blue can in your station. I believe there's a blue and or an orange can in your derelict when you spawn. So it's pretty easy to get a hold of hydrogen. And they've also been, I've noticed, having deuterium and hydrogen spawning in blue cans in like Everest Station and in industrial centers around the system. So thankfully, they've upped the spawn, at least the looting rate of hydrogen. And that is probably a necessary change given how valuable it is becoming. Obviously, resources in general are more valuable now because you're going to be having leaks every once in a while, which obviously didn't happen before. So just by that priority, you're going to need more resources more often than before. And obviously, AFKing for long periods of time, if you're gone for 2 weeks or something, your station is just going to go unless you have someone else to maintain it, unfortunately. I believe the cutoff is 7 to 9 days. So if you're a weekend player, I believe you'll be fine. You're going to have plenty of maintenance to do on the weekends, I'm sure, when you get back, if you're only playing on the weekends. But you should be fine, I believe. We'll find out. I still hear hissing, but that might just be an audio glitch. We have 100% hull integrity here, so there's no breaches anyway. We'll go ahead and check the airlock and see what that is at. I'm gonna have to force open this door. That's fine. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Oh yeah, it's at 0.9. It's already almost back up to par. Yep, and as you can see, hull integrity of the airlock is 100%. It's slowly repressurizing because, of course, I left the air pressure on, which I probably shouldn't have. I would recommend you not do that as I plop here onto the floor. And that's pretty much it for the update as far as hull degradation and all of that. It's pretty much become this game of an added layer to everything else, whereas some people really enjoy pirating or harvesting resources or whatever the case that you enjoy doing in this game. There's this added layer of difficulty that I think was really necessary. It definitely keeps you on your toes, and there's also the new mechanic where if you ram into things, it can cause, like, obviously it causes things to blow up and or like create massive holes. So you need to be a little bit more careful with docking. You can't just ram other people's ships and stuff unless you're going kamikaze mode. But overall, I think it's a great change. At the end of the day, it's probably not quite enough content-wise to bring the game up to full snuff. Of course, there's still plenty of bugs, and of course, it's still an alpha, so I wouldn't expect it to be a full game yet, but this is definitely a huge step in the right direction. It's just continually improving the game, and I actually really love every patch. You see so many bug fixes coming out and everything. So the more content that comes in and the more bugs that are fixed, I haven't been running into nearly as many the last couple days as I have in general previously when I played. So this is definitely a huge step in the right direction, and I have actually been really enjoying this patch. It's definitely more interesting. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out a full starter guide, I have one. I'll link it in the description and on the screen. That will be from a previous patch, but the overview of it is pretty much the same, except for little things like having to repair everything are different now and a little bit more time consuming, but it's ultimately the same general concept. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I helped you out. Let me know what you think of the patch down below, and have a great day, guys. Thanks. Bye.